Welcome to the hidden strength of silence, a powerful journey into the wisdom and resilience found in stillness. Written by Stephen S. Schwartz, this audiobook is here to guide you through the life-changing impact of silence in a world full of noise. Published exclusively on Fearless Audio, this book is more than just words. It's an experience, a call to embrace the quiet moments that shape our lives. If you find inspiration in these words, support this journey by subscribing to Fearless Audio on YouTube. Your support helps bring more motivational and life-changing content to those who need it. Now, take a deep breath, let go of the distractions, and step into the power of silence. Your transformation begins here. Introduction: The power within the quiet. We live in a world that never stops making noise. Everywhere we go, there is sound. People talking, phones ringing, cars honking, music playing. Even when we are alone, our minds are filled with endless thoughts, worries, and distractions. It feels as if silence has disappeared, replaced by the constant demand to speak, react, and keep up. But what if silence is not an empty space, but a hidden source of power? What if stillness holds the key to a stronger, wiser, and more peaceful life? Silence is not weakness. It is not the absence of action or thought. In fact, silence is one of the greatest strengths you can develop. When you allow yourself to be still, you create space for deeper thinking, clearer understanding, and true confidence. In the quiet, you learn to hear your own voice, free from the noise of the world. You begin to see things as they really are, not as they appear in the rush of everyday life. This is where real wisdom is found, not in speaking more, but in listening more, not in reacting faster, but in pausing first. Throughout history, some of the most successful and influential people have embraced silence. Think of great leaders who chose their words carefully, wise thinkers who spent time in solitude, and artists who found inspiration in the stillness around them. They knew that silence was not empty. It was full of power. It gave them strength, focus, and the ability to make better choices. This book will help you discover the hidden strength of silence in your own life. You will learn how to quiet the noise around you, become a better listener, and find peace in stillness. You will see how silence can improve your relationships, boost your creativity, and help you make smarter decisions. Whether you are searching for confidence, clarity, or a sense of calm, the answers can be found in moments of quiet. You do not have to escape to the mountains or live in solitude to embrace silence. It is always with you, waiting to be used. The journey ahead will show you how to tap into this powerful force and change your life for the better. Are you ready to unlock the strength within the quiet? Let's begin. Chapter 1: The Noise Around Us. We live in a time where silence is rare. From the moment we wake up, noise fills our lives. The sound of an alarm pulls us out of sleep, followed by the chatter of morning news, the buzz of notifications, and the never-ending hum of daily life. Cars honk on busy streets, people talk loudly on their phones, music plays in stores, and televisions glow in every room. Even when the world around us quiets down, our minds remain busy, filled with thoughts, worries, and endless to-do lists. It seems as if we have grown uncomfortable with silence. Many people turn on music or a podcast the moment they are alone, just to fill the empty space. Social media and entertainment platforms provide an endless stream of distractions, keeping us engaged at all times. Our schedules are packed with work, social events, and responsibilities, leaving little room for stillness. We have been taught to believe that being busy means being productive, that constant stimulation is necessary, and that silence is boring. But is it really? However, the constant distractions of modern life. The world today is louder than it has ever been. With the rise of technology, we are surrounded by screens, messages, and digital noise every second of the day. We check our phones dozens of times an hour, read news updates that add to our stress, and feel pressure to respond instantly to emails and messages. Even when we try to focus, there is always something pulling us away. An advertisement, a notification, or the temptation to scroll through social media for just a few minutes. This endless stream of distractions does more than just steal our time. It takes away our ability to think deeply. When our minds are constantly bombarded with new information, we do not have the space to reflect. We jump from one task to another, reacting instead of truly deciding. We become so used to being stimulated that moments of quiet feel uncomfortable, even unbearable. Instead of using silence to rest, we fill it with noise, without realizing that we are draining ourselves. Another major source of noise comes from our environment. Many people live in busy cities where the sounds of traffic, construction, and crowded streets never stop. Others work in noisy offices where conversations, phone calls, and background music make it hard to concentrate. Even at home, noise follows us, whether it is the television, family members talking, or household chores that keep us occupied. Finding a moment of true silence feels impossible. How external noise affects our mental and emotional well-being. Most of us do not think about how noise affects us, but its impact is deeper than we realize. Constant exposure to noise can increase stress and anxiety, making it harder for our minds to rest. Studies have shown that living in a noisy environment can lead to higher levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, which can affect our sleep, mood, and overall health. When our brains never get a break from stimulation, we become mentally exhausted without even knowing why. Noise also affects our ability to connect with others. When we are distracted by our phones or overwhelmed by background noise, we do not truly listen to the people around us. Conversations become shallow, and we struggle to focus on what others are saying. Over time, this can weaken our relationships and make us feel more isolated. In a world filled with noise, true connection becomes harder to find. Emotionally, noise can make us feel restless and uneasy. Have you ever noticed how some people feel uncomfortable in a quiet room? That is because silence forces us to face our thoughts. When there is no distraction, we become more aware of our emotions, both good and bad. This can be difficult at first, but it is also necessary for growth. Silence allows us to process our feelings, understand our fears, and find clarity in our lives. Without it, we remain stuck in a cycle of distraction, never fully addressing what is happening inside us. Recognizing the need for moments of silence. If we want to regain control over our minds and emotions, we must learn to embrace silence. The first step is to recognize its value. Instead of seeing silence as empty or boring, we should view it as an opportunity, a chance to rest, reflect, and reconnect with ourselves. When we give ourselves moments of quiet, we create space for deeper thinking and greater awareness. Finding silence does not mean escaping to a remote location or living in total solitude. It can be as simple as turning off notifications for an hour, taking a walk without headphones, or sitting in a quiet room for a few minutes each day. Small moments of silence can make a big difference in our well-being. Many of the greatest minds in history understood the importance of silence. Writers, philosophers, and leaders often sought solitude to think and create. They knew that true wisdom does not come from constant activity, but from moments of stillness. By making space for silence in our lives, we can gain clarity, strengthen our focus, and find the inner peace that so many of us are searching for. As we move forward in this book, we will explore the many ways silence can improve our lives. We will learn how to use quiet moments for self-discovery, how silence can make us better listeners, and how stillness can lead to stronger decisions and deeper relationships. The journey to embracing silence starts now. It is time to turn down the noise and listen to what truly matters. Chapter 2: Silence as a Path to Self-Discovery. Most of us spend our lives surrounded by noise, distractions, and the opinions of others. We rarely get a moment to be alone with our thoughts. Yet, when we step away from the noise and embrace silence, we begin to see ourselves more clearly. Silence is not just an absence of sound. It is a space where we can truly connect with who we are. It allows us to reflect, understand our emotions, and gain the clarity needed to make better choices. Many people fear being alone because they associate it with loneliness. But solitude is different from loneliness. Loneliness is the feeling of being disconnected from others, while solitude is the act of intentionally spending time with yourself. When you choose solitude, you give yourself the gift of self-discovery. You allow yourself to hear your inner voice without the influence of the outside world. In this chapter, we will explore how silence leads to deeper self-awareness, the role of mindfulness in reflection, and how some of the greatest thinkers in history use solitude to their advantage. How solitude leads to deeper self-awareness. We live in a world that constantly tells us who we should be. From a young age, we are influenced by our families, schools, media, and society. We are taught what success looks like, what is expected of us, and how we should think. Over time, it becomes difficult to separate our true selves from the expectations placed upon us. This is why silence and solitude are so important. They give us the chance to ask ourselves important questions. What do I truly want in life? Am I living according to my own values or someone else's? What makes me happy? What fears or doubts have I been avoiding? When we are constantly busy, we do not take the time to reflect on these questions. We move through life on autopilot, following routines without questioning if they truly bring us fulfillment. But when we take a step back and spend time in silence, we start to uncover the deeper layers of who we are. Silence helps us recognize our emotions. Without distractions, we become more aware of our feelings, both the good and the bad. If we are feeling anxious, stressed, or lost, silence allows us to sit with those emotions and understand their source. Instead of running from discomfort, we learn to face it. And in doing so, we gain the power to change our lives for the better. The role of silence in mindfulness and reflection. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment. It is about paying attention to our thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judgment. Silence plays a key role in mindfulness because it removes external distractions, allowing us to focus inward. When we sit in silence, we notice things we might otherwise ignore. We become aware of our breath, the tension in our bodies, and the thoughts that constantly run through our minds. At first, this can be uncomfortable. We might realize that our thoughts are filled with worries about the future or regrets about the past. But over time, mindfulness teaches us to observe these thoughts without getting lost in them. One of the simplest ways to practice mindfulness through silence is by setting aside a few minutes each day for quiet reflection. This can be done by sitting in a peaceful place, closing your eyes, and simply breathing. No phones, no music, no distractions, just you and the present moment. As you do this regularly, you will begin to notice patterns in your thinking. You will see what worries you, what excites you, and what thoughts hold you back. Journaling is another powerful way to use silence for reflection. When you write in a journal, you are having an honest conversation with yourself. You can write about your dreams, fears, challenges, and goals. The act of putting thoughts into words helps bring clarity. Many people find that when they write in silence, they discover solutions to problems that seemed impossible before. Another important aspect of silence is learning to be comfortable with stillness. In today's world, we are so used to being entertained that we struggle with quiet moments. But stillness is where some of life's greatest insights occur. Instead of always filling time with activities, try simply sitting and being present. Whether it is enjoying a cup of tea without distractions or watching the sunset in silence, these small moments can bring a deep sense of peace. Stories of great thinkers who embraced solitude. Throughout history, some of the most influential minds have understood the power of silence and solitude. They knew that stepping away from the world allowed them to think more deeply, create groundbreaking ideas, and understand themselves better. One such example is Leonardo da Vinci. He was not just a great artist, but also a scientist, engineer, and thinker. Da Vinci often spent long hours alone, observing nature, sketching his ideas, and writing in his notebooks. He believed that silence allowed the mind to wander freely, leading to creativity and innovation. Without solitude, he might not have made the discoveries that continue to inspire the world today. Another great thinker who valued silence was Albert Einstein. Known for his incredible intelligence, Einstein often took long walks alone to clear his mind and reflect on complex problems. He believed that stepping away from distractions helped him think more clearly. Some of his greatest ideas, including the theory of relativity, were formed during moments of quiet reflection. Mahatma Gandhi, one of history's most influential leaders, also practiced silence regularly. Every Monday, he observed a day of silence during which he did not speak at all. He believed that silence gave him the mental clarity and strength needed to lead his people. He once said, "Speak only if it improves upon the silence." This practice helped him develop patience, wisdom, and a deep connection to his inner self. Even in literature, silence has been a powerful tool for self-discovery. Henry David Thoreau, an American writer and philosopher, spent 2 years living alone in a small cabin near Walden Pond. He wrote about his experience in his famous book Walden, where he described how solitude allowed him to understand life more deeply. He believed that stepping away from society helped him see the world more clearly and appreciate the simple joys of life. These examples show us that silence is not something to be feared. It is something to be embraced. It is in the quiet moments that we truly get to know ourselves. Embracing silence in everyday life. You do not need to be a scientist, artist, or philosopher to benefit from silence. Anyone can use quiet moments to improve their life. The key is to make it a habit. Start by setting aside just a few minutes each day for silence. Whether it is through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting in a quiet place, these small moments will add up. If you find it difficult to sit in silence, start by reducing unnecessary noise in your life. Turn off notifications, take a break from social media, or spend time in nature. Over time, you will begin to appreciate the peace that comes with silence. As we continue this journey, remember that silence is not empty. It is full of answers. It is a tool for growth, wisdom, and inner strength. When you embrace silence, you open the door to self-discovery, creativity, and a deeper understanding of yourself. Let silence be your guide and see where it takes you. Chapter 3: The Art of Listening. In today's world, people are constantly speaking, sharing, and trying to make their voices heard. Conversations often turn into competitions where each person is waiting for their turn to talk rather than truly listening. Yet true power does not come from speaking the most. It comes from listening deeply. Listening is one of the most valuable skills a person can develop. It helps us build stronger relationships, understand others on a deeper level, and even grow as individuals. Despite its importance, listening is often overlooked. Many people believe that in order to be seen as intelligent, confident, or influential, they must always have something to say. But history and experience tell us otherwise. The greatest thinkers, leaders, and communicators are often those who listen more than they speak. They understand that by truly hearing what others have to say, they gain knowledge, build trust, and make wiser decisions. This chapter will explore why listening is more powerful than speaking, how silence can enhance our ability to understand others, and practical techniques for becoming a better listener. Why listening is more powerful than speaking. Many people think that power comes from speaking loudly, asserting opinions, and making their voices heard. While speaking is important, it is only half of communication. The other half, listening, is where real understanding and connection happen. Think about some of the most respected leaders in history, people like Mahatma Gandhi, Abraham Lincoln, and Nelson Mandela. These individuals were not just great speakers, they were great listeners. They understood that before they could lead, they needed to listen. They needed to hear the concerns, struggles, and hopes of the people they served. By listening first, they were able to respond in ways that truly mattered. Listening allows us to gain knowledge. When we listen carefully, we learn things we might have otherwise missed. We pick up on details, emotions, and perspectives that help us make better decisions. Speaking without listening is like trying to solve a puzzle without looking at all the pieces. It leads to misunderstandings, mistakes, and missed opportunities. Listening also makes people feel valued. Think about a time when someone truly listened to you. They did not interrupt, look at their phone, or rush to speak. Instead, they gave you their full attention. How did that make you feel? Most likely, it made you feel respected and important. Now think of a time when someone did not listen to you. Maybe they cut you off, changed the subject, or ignored what you were saying. That kind of behavior makes people feel invisible and unimportant. When we listen deeply, we create stronger relationships. Whether in friendships, family, or work, people appreciate those who take the time to understand them. Listening builds trust, prevents misunderstandings, and strengthens connections. How silence enhances our ability to understand others. Silence is often seen as awkward in conversation, but it is actually one of the most powerful tools for understanding. When we stay silent and truly listen, we give people the space to express themselves fully. One of the biggest mistakes people make in conversation is listening to respond rather than listening to understand. Instead of fully absorbing what the other person is saying, they are already thinking about their reply. This prevents true connection. Silence allows us to be present. When we do not rush to speak, we can focus on the other person's words, tone, and emotions. We notice their body language, the pauses they take, and the feelings behind their words. This kind of listening helps us pick up on things that might otherwise be missed. Silence is especially important in difficult conversations. When emotions run high, people often speak without thinking. But when we practice silence, we give ourselves time to process what is being said. Instead of reacting immediately, we can pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully. This prevents arguments, misunderstandings, and hurt feelings. Another powerful aspect of silence is that it encourages others to open up. Many people speak quickly because they are afraid of being interrupted or unheard. But when we remain silent and give them time, they feel more comfortable sharing their thoughts. This deepens conversations and allows for more meaningful exchanges. Practical techniques for becoming a better listener. Becoming a better listener is a skill that requires practice, patience, and a willingness to focus on others. Here are some techniques that can help you improve. Well, 1, give your full attention. True listening requires full attention. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Phones, notifications, background noise. When someone is speaking, put your phone away, make eye contact, and focus on them. Show them that you are present and engaged. 2, practice active listening. Active listening means showing that you are engaged in the conversation. This can be done through small gestures like nodding, maintaining eye contact, and using verbal cues such as, "I see," "That makes sense," or "Tell me more." These small actions make the speaker feel heard. And 3, avoid interrupting. Many people interrupt without realizing it. They get excited to share their thoughts or feel the need to correct the speaker. But interrupting sends the message that what you have to say is more important than what the other person is saying. Instead, let them finish their thoughts before responding. If you feel the urge to interrupt, take a deep breath and remind yourself to wait. 4, ask thoughtful questions. Asking questions shows that you are engaged and interested in what the other person is saying. Instead of giving your opinion right away, ask open-ended questions like, "Can you tell me more about that? How did that make you feel? What do you think will happen next?" These kinds of questions encourage deeper conversations and show that you truly care about the other person's perspective. 5, use silence to encourage deeper conversation. Many people rush to fill silence in conversation, but sometimes silence is exactly what is needed. If someone is sharing something difficult or emotional, do not feel the need to speak right away. Sometimes a moment of quiet allows them to process their thoughts and continue speaking. Silence shows patience and respect. 6, reflect before responding. Before answering, take a moment to process what was said. This prevents knee-jerk reactions and allows you to respond with greater thoughtfulness. Instead of reacting emotionally, take a breath, consider their words, and respond with care. 7, listen without judgment. True listening requires an open mind. If we listen with the intent to judge or criticize, we will not fully understand the speaker's perspective. Instead, try to listen with curiosity and empathy. Even if you disagree, seek to understand their point of view before forming your response. The power of becoming a great listener. Becoming a great listener takes time, but it is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. It improves relationships, strengthens trust, and helps you connect with others in a deeper way. When you listen more than you speak, you gain knowledge, avoid misunderstandings, and show others that you truly care. As we move forward in this book, remember that silence is not just about being alone. It is also about being present with others. The more we listen, the more we learn. And the more we learn, the wiser we become. Start today. The next time you are in a conversation, practice silence. Listen with full attention, ask thoughtful questions, and embrace the power of understanding. You will be amazed at the difference it makes in your relationships and in your life. Chapter 4: Finding Strength in Stillness. In a world that moves fast, where people are always rushing from one thing to another, stillness can feel unnatural. We are surrounded by noise, constant conversations, notifications, the hum of traffic, and the endless stream of information. We have become so accustomed to this noise that when everything is quiet, it can feel uncomfortable. But hidden within stillness is a great power. Stillness is not emptiness. It is a space where we can grow, reflect, and find deep inner strength. The ability to be still is a skill, one that can help us build resilience, find inner peace, and heal emotionally. Many people avoid silence because they associate it with loneliness or boredom. But when we embrace it, we discover that silence has the power to restore and renew us. This chapter will explore how quiet moments help us develop resilience, why it is important to embrace discomfort in silence, and how stillness can be a powerful tool for emotional healing. How quiet moments build resilience and inner peace. Resilience is the ability to face challenges without breaking. It is not about avoiding struggles, but about finding strength in the middle of them. Many people think that resilience comes from action, fighting harder, doing more, pushing forward at all costs. But sometimes the greatest strength comes from stillness. When we take moments of quiet, we allow ourselves to reset. Life can be overwhelming, and if we never slow down, stress and exhaustion take over. Stillness gives us the space to breathe, to process our emotions, and to regain our strength. Just as muscles grow stronger when they rest after exercise, our minds and hearts also need stillness to recover from life's challenges. Consider a tree in the middle of a storm. It does not fight against the wind. It stands firm and bends when necessary. It does not panic or try to move. Its strength comes from its deep roots and ability to remain steady. People who practice stillness develop this same kind of inner strength. When difficult times come, they do not rush into panic or react without thinking. They take a moment of quiet, gather their thoughts, and respond with wisdom. Inner peace is another gift of stillness. Many people seek happiness in external things, success, possessions, relationships. But true peace does not come from outside. It comes from within. And to find it, we need to be still. When we practice silence, we begin to notice our thoughts and emotions. We learn what brings us joy and what holds us back. We connect with ourselves in a way that is not possible when we are constantly distracted. Learning to embrace discomfort in silence. One of the biggest reasons people avoid silence is because it can be uncomfortable. When there is nothing to distract us, we are left alone with our thoughts. This can be unsettling, especially if we have emotions we have been avoiding. But discomfort in silence is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. Think of silence as a mirror. It shows us parts of ourselves that we might not always want to see. When we are busy, we can avoid difficult thoughts and feelings. But when we are still, those feelings rise to the surface. This can be challenging, but it is also an opportunity for growth. Many people turn to distractions, TV, social media, work, to escape uncomfortable emotions. But avoiding them does not make them go away. In fact, ignoring our feelings often makes them stronger. When we take time to sit in silence and acknowledge our emotions, we begin to understand them. We see what is causing our stress, sadness, or frustration. And once we understand these feelings, we can begin to heal. Great thinkers and spiritual leaders have long understood the power of sitting with discomfort. Buddha, Jesus, and many philosophers spent long periods in silence, using stillness to gain wisdom and clarity. They understood that true growth comes not from running away from difficult emotions, but from facing them. If silence makes you uncomfortable, start small. Take just 5 minutes a day to sit in a quiet place. Let your thoughts come and go without judgment. At first, this may feel strange, but over time, you will start to notice the benefits. You will feel more connected to yourself and more in control of your emotions. Silence as a tool for emotional healing. Life brings pain. There are moments of loss, disappointment, and struggle that leave deep wounds. Many people try to move past pain by staying busy, but healing does not happen through distraction. It happens through stillness. Silence allows us to process our emotions fully. When we go through something difficult, our minds need time to make sense of it. If we rush too quickly to move on, we may never truly heal. Sitting in silence gives us the space to reflect on what we have been through, to feel our emotions completely, and to release what no longer serves us. Stillness also helps us reconnect with ourselves. In the chaos of life, we sometimes lose sight of who we are. We get caught up in expectations, responsibilities, and the noise of the world. Silence gives us a chance to remember who we truly are, what we value, and what brings us peace. Many people find healing through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting in nature. These quiet practices allow emotions to surface and be processed in a healthy way. Instead of avoiding pain, we acknowledge it, accept it, and allow ourselves to heal. Practical ways to find strength in stillness. 1. Start your day with silence. Before checking your phone or turning on the TV, take a few minutes to sit quietly. Breathe deeply, clear your mind, and set a calm tone for the day. 2. Take breaks from noise. Throughout the day, step away from distractions. Find a quiet place to pause, even if it's just for a few minutes. 3. Practice mindful breathing. Focus on your breath. Notice the way it moves in and out. This simple practice can bring instant calm and clarity. 4. Spend time in nature. Nature has a natural stillness that can help us reconnect with ourselves. Go for a walk in a quiet park, sit by a river, or watch the sunset. 5. Journaling in silence. Writing down your thoughts in a quiet space can help you process emotions and gain clarity. 6. Accept discomfort. If silence feels uncomfortable at first, remind yourself that growth often comes from discomfort. Stay with it, and over time, you will begin to appreciate the stillness. The strength you will find in stillness. Stillness is not weakness. It is one of the greatest sources of strength. It teaches us patience, resilience, and self-awareness. It allows us to heal from past wounds, find inner peace, and build a deeper connection with ourselves. When we stop running from silence and embrace it, we discover something powerful. Everything we need is already within us. The answers we seek, the strength we desire, and the peace we long for are all found in stillness. The next time life feels overwhelming, instead of seeking distractions, try being still. Sit in silence, listen to your inner voice, and allow yourself to rest. In that quiet space, you will find a strength greater than you ever imagined. Chapter 5. Silence and Decision-Making. Every day we make decisions, some small, some life-changing. From choosing what to eat for breakfast to deciding on a new career path, our lives are shaped by the choices we make. But in a world that moves quickly, where instant answers are expected, we often rush into decisions without giving them the thought they deserve. The pressure to act immediately can lead to mistakes, regrets, and poor judgment. Silence is one of the most powerful tools for making better decisions. When we step back and give ourselves time to think, we allow our minds to process information clearly. Instead of reacting impulsively, we gain clarity and confidence in our choices. Many of the world's greatest leaders, thinkers, and innovators have relied on silent reflection to make important decisions. This chapter will explore how stepping back helps us make better choices, the role of patience in decision-making, and real-life examples of leaders who used quiet reflection to guide their actions. How stepping back helps in making better choices. When faced with a decision, our first instinct is often to act quickly. We feel pressure to respond, to fix problems immediately, or to prove that we know what to do. But quick decisions are not always the best ones. Many times, the wisest choice comes after a period of quiet reflection. Stepping back allows us to see the bigger picture. When we are too close to a problem, our emotions can cloud our judgment. Fear, stress, or excitement can push us to make choices that we later regret. But when we take a step back and allow ourselves time to think, we gain perspective. We begin to see things more clearly, without the influence of temporary emotions. Imagine someone who receives a job offer in a different city. The opportunity sounds exciting, and they feel the urge to accept it immediately. But if they take time to sit in silence and think, they may begin to see the situation differently. They might consider how the move will affect their family, their happiness, and their long-term goals. Instead of making a decision based on a moment of excitement, they can make a choice that truly aligns with their values. Silence also allows our subconscious mind to work. Many people have experienced the feeling of struggling with a problem, only to have the answer come to them when they are doing something unrelated, taking a walk, showering, or sitting quietly. This happens because our brains continue processing information even when we are not actively thinking about it. When we give ourselves quiet time, we allow our minds to work in the background, often leading to better insights. Cultivating patience through silent contemplation. Patience is a rare skill in today's fast-paced world. We want answers immediately. We expect instant responses, quick solutions, and immediate results. But the best decisions often require patience. Silent contemplation helps us develop this patience. When we practice silence, we learn to sit with uncertainty. Not every answer comes right away, and that is okay. Instead of rushing into a decision just to feel in control, we allow time for the right choice to reveal itself. This patience prevents us from making decisions out of fear or pressure. A great example of this is financial decision-making. Many people make impulsive financial choices, buying things they do not need, investing in something without research, or making big purchases without thinking. But those who take time to sit in silence and truly consider their options often make better financial decisions. They avoid unnecessary risks, save money, and choose investments that align with their long-term goals. Silent contemplation also teaches us to trust ourselves. When we take time to think, we build confidence in our ability to make the right choices. We learn to rely on our inner wisdom rather than being influenced by outside noise. This self-trust makes future decisions easier because we know we have the ability to think things through carefully. Real-life examples of leaders who relied on quiet reflection. Many of history's greatest leaders understood the power of silence in decision-making. They knew that stepping back, thinking deeply, and waiting for the right moment led to wiser choices. One well-known example is Abraham Lincoln. As President of the United States during one of the country's most challenging periods, Lincoln faced countless difficult decisions. Instead of reacting immediately, he often took time to think in silence. He would go on long walks alone, sit quietly in his office, and reflect before making important choices. This practice helped him lead with wisdom, patience, and a clear mind. Mahatma Gandhi also used silence as a tool for decision-making. He regularly practiced silent days where he would not speak at all. During these periods, he focused on reflection, prayer, and inner clarity. This helped him make decisions that shaped India's independence movement. Instead of acting out of anger or impulse, he carefully considered every action, leading with wisdom and patience. Another example is Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in the world. Unlike many people in the business world who make quick financial moves, Buffett takes time to think. He spends hours reading, reflecting, and considering his choices before making investments. His success is a testament to the power of patience and quiet contemplation in decision-making. Even in the world of sports, silence plays a role in great decisions. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, used moments of quiet focus before big games. Instead of getting caught up in noise and pressure, he would take time to sit alone, visualize his performance, and mentally prepare. This ability to step back and reflect helped him make better decisions on the court. Practical ways to use silence for better decisions. If you want to improve your decision-making, start by incorporating silence into your daily life. Here are some practical ways to do so. 1. Take a pause before responding. When faced with an important decision, resist the urge to respond immediately. Take a few moments, hours, or even days to reflect before making a choice. 2. Create a quiet thinking space. Find a place where you can sit in silence without distractions. This could be a park, a quiet room, or even just a few minutes in your car. 3. Practice mindful breathing. When you feel overwhelmed by a decision, take deep breaths and focus on your breath. This helps calm your mind and brings clarity. 4. Write down your thoughts. Journaling in silence allows you to process your options, weigh the pros and cons, and see patterns in your thinking. 5. Go for a walk alone. Walking in silence helps clear your mind and gives you a fresh perspective on decisions. 6. Trust that answers will come. Not every decision needs an immediate answer. Give yourself permission to wait until the right choice becomes clear. The power of silent decision-making. In a noisy world, the ability to pause and reflect is a rare and valuable skill. Silence gives us the space to think, process emotions, and make choices with confidence. It allows us to see beyond immediate impulses and consider long-term consequences. Great leaders, thinkers, and successful individuals understand that silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. They know that the best decisions are made not in moments of pressure and noise, but in stillness and clarity. The next time you face an important decision, resist the urge to act immediately. Step back, sit in silence, and listen to your inner voice. The answers you seek are already within you. You just need the quiet to hear them. Chapter 6. The Role of Silence in Relationships. Relationships are built on communication, but true connection is not just about words. Silence plays an important role in deepening bonds, preventing misunderstandings, and fostering trust. In a world where people are constantly talking, texting, and sharing their thoughts, the value of quiet moments is often overlooked. However, those who understand the power of silence in relationships experience stronger, more meaningful connections. Silence can be a space where real understanding grows. It allows us to listen deeply, process emotions, and be fully present with another person. When used wisely, silence strengthens relationships in ways that words alone cannot. In this chapter, we will explore how quiet moments deepen connections, how silence can prevent misunderstandings, and how it fosters empathy and trust. The importance of quiet moments in deepening connections. People often believe that a good relationship is one where conversation never stops. They think that silence means something is wrong or that there is a lack of connection. But in reality, some of the most meaningful moments in relationships happen in silence. Think about the times you have sat with a close friend or loved one without speaking. Maybe you were watching a sunset together, sharing a peaceful drive, or simply sitting in the same room. There were no words, yet there was a deep sense of comfort and connection. This is the power of silence. It allows two people to be present with each other without the pressure of filling the space with words. In romantic relationships, silence can be a sign of true intimacy. When two people are comfortable being quiet together, it shows that they feel safe in each other's presence. They do not need to entertain or impress each other with constant conversation. They can simply be together. In friendships, silence can create a space for deeper understanding. When we allow moments of quiet, we give ourselves time to truly see and appreciate the other person. We do not rush to respond or change the subject. We simply let the connection exist. Families also benefit from silence. In a home filled with noise and activity, quiet moments can bring a sense of peace and togetherness. Sitting together without the need for words, sharing a meal, reading in the same room, or watching a fire burn creates a bond that is felt rather than spoken. How silence can prevent misunderstandings. Many conflicts in relationships happen because people speak too quickly. When emotions run high, it is easy to say things we do not mean. Words spoken in anger or frustration can cause damage that takes a long time to repair. Silence, on the other hand, can prevent these misunderstandings. Taking a moment of silence before responding allows us to think before we speak. It gives us time to process our emotions and choose our words carefully. Instead of reacting impulsively, we can respond with clarity and kindness. For example, imagine a couple having an argument. One person feels hurt and wants to express their feelings. The other person, feeling defensive, is tempted to respond immediately. But if they take a moment of silence, they have a chance to calm down and see the situation more clearly. Instead of escalating the conflict, they can speak with understanding and patience. Silence also prevents misunderstandings by creating space for listening. Too often, people are focused on what they will say next, rather than truly hearing the other person. When we allow silence in a conversation, we give ourselves time to absorb what the other person is saying. We listen not just to their words, but to their emotions, their tone, and their unspoken messages. In professional relationships, silence can be a powerful tool for avoiding miscommunication. In meetings or negotiations, taking a moment of silence before responding shows confidence and thoughtfulness. It ensures that words are chosen wisely, reducing the risk of saying something that could be misunderstood. Using silence to foster empathy and trust. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, is essential in any relationship. Silence helps cultivate this skill by giving us the space to observe, reflect, and truly feel what another person is experiencing. When someone is going through a difficult time, our first instinct is often to say something comforting. While words can be helpful, sometimes silence is the most powerful response. Being present with someone in their pain without trying to fix it or fill the silence shows deep understanding and care. Consider a friend who has just lost a loved one. Many people struggle to find the right words to say in such moments, but often the most meaningful support comes not from words, but from quiet presence. Sitting with them in silence, holding their hand, or simply being there can provide more comfort than any speech. Trust is another foundation of strong relationships, and silence plays a key role in building it. When we listen in silence without interrupting or judging, we show the other person that their words matter. We create a safe space where they feel heard and respected. In relationships where trust has been broken, silence can help rebuild it. Instead of rushing to defend ourselves or explain everything, we can use quiet moments to reflect, apologize sincerely, and show through our actions that we are trustworthy. Practical ways to use silence in relationships. 1. Pause before speaking. Before responding in a conversation, take a brief moment of silence. This helps ensure your words are thoughtful and meaningful. 2. Practice active listening. When someone is speaking, focus entirely on them. Do not think about your response while they are talking. Let there be moments of silence as you absorb what they are saying. 3. Embrace comfortable silence. Spend time with loved ones without feeling the need to fill every moment with words. Enjoy quiet activities together, like taking a walk or sitting side by side. 4. Use silence to de-escalate conflict. If a conversation is becoming heated, take a step back and allow silence to calm the situation before continuing. 5. Be present in silence. When someone is struggling, do not feel pressured to say the perfect thing. Sometimes your quiet presence is the best support you can give. 6. Allow space for reflection. In important discussions, let there be pauses for reflection. If someone shares something meaningful, allow a moment of silence before responding. The quiet power of connection. Words are powerful, but silence is just as important in building strong relationships. It allows us to connect on a deeper level, prevent misunderstandings, and show empathy and trust. It creates space for real listening, thoughtful responses, and true emotional connection. The next time you find yourself in a conversation, notice the role of silence. Instead of rushing to speak, allow quiet moments to exist. Listen more, pause before responding, and embrace the comfort of being with someone without words. In those quiet moments, you may discover a connection deeper than anything words could express. Chapter 7. Silence as a Source of Creativity. Creativity is one of the most powerful forces within us. It is the ability to imagine, to invent, to bring something new into the world. Some people believe creativity is a gift that only artists, writers, and musicians have. But the truth is that creativity lives in all of us. It is what helps us solve problems, find new opportunities, and express ourselves in unique ways. However, creativity does not thrive in chaos. It needs space. It needs silence. In our busy world filled with noise and constant stimulation, silence is often overlooked. Yet it is in stillness that the most brilliant ideas are born. Many of history's greatest artists, inventors, and thinkers have turned to silence to unlock their creativity. They understood that when the mind is quiet, it becomes open to inspiration. In this chapter, we will explore why stillness fuels innovation, how creative minds use silence to spark ideas, and practical ways you can use silence to enhance your own creativity. Why stillness fuels innovation and inspiration. Imagine a lake with calm, still water. When the surface is smooth, it reflects the sky clearly. But when the water is disturbed by waves and ripples, the reflection becomes blurry. The same thing happens in our minds. When there is too much noise, both external and internal, our thoughts become scattered. Ideas get lost in the chaos. But when we find stillness, our minds become like the calm lake, able to reflect new ideas with clarity. Silence gives our brains the space to make unexpected connections. Creativity is not about forcing new ideas to appear. It is about allowing them to come naturally. Often the best ideas arrive when we are not actively trying to find them. Have you ever noticed how you suddenly get a great idea in the shower during a walk or just before falling asleep? That happens because, in those quiet moments, your brain is free to explore possibilities without pressure. In contrast, when we are constantly bombarded with noise, social media, notifications, conversations, background music, our minds become cluttered. We may think we are being productive, but in reality, we are preventing our deeper creative thoughts from emerging. How artists, writers, and creators use silence to spark ideas. Throughout history, some of the most creative individuals have used silence as a tool for inspiration. They understood that the best ideas come not when the mind is busy, but when it is allowed to wander in stillness. One famous example is Leonardo da Vinci. The great painter, inventor, and scientist often spent long hours in silent observation. He would sit quietly and watch the world, allowing his mind to absorb details and patterns. This practice of deep, silent observation helped him create some of the most innovative ideas in history. Another example is Albert Einstein. He was known for taking long, quiet walks where he would let his mind drift. It was during these moments of silent thought that he formed some of his greatest scientific theories. He believed that imagination was more important than knowledge and that true breakthroughs happened when the mind was free to explore without distraction. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, came up with the idea for her famous books while sitting in silence on a train. She had no distractions, no phone, no music, no conversations, just her thoughts. In that quiet space, her imagination came to life. Similarly, Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, was known for his deep appreciation of silence. He often practiced meditation and took silent retreats to clear his mind. He believed that great ideas come from moments of stillness, where the mind has the freedom to think creatively. These examples show that silence is not empty. It is full of potential. When we give ourselves the gift of stillness, we open the door to new possibilities. Practical exercises for harnessing silence for creativity. You do not have to be a famous artist or inventor to use silence for creativity. Anyone can benefit from stillness. Here are some simple but powerful exercises you can try. 1. Start your day with silence. Before checking your phone or talking to anyone, take 5 to 10 minutes to sit in silence. Close your eyes, take deep breaths, and let your mind settle. This practice clears away mental clutter and allows creative thoughts to flow naturally. Take silent walks. Walking in nature without distractions is a great way to spark creativity. Leave your phone behind or put it on silent mode. Observe the world around you. Notice the shapes of trees, the sounds of birds, the feeling of the air on your skin. Let your mind wander. Many creative breakthroughs happen during these silent walks. 3. Use the power of daydreaming. In today's fast-paced world, daydreaming is often seen as a waste of time, but in reality, it is a powerful tool for creativity. Set aside time to sit quietly and let your thoughts drift. Do not force yourself to think about anything specific. Just allow your mind to explore freely. Some of your best ideas will come when you are simply letting your imagination wander. Practice silent observation. Find a quiet place, like a park or a coffee shop, and observe without speaking or interacting. Watch people, study the way the light changes, listen to the subtle sounds around you. This exercise trains your brain to notice details, which is essential for creative thinking. 5. Try silent brainstorming. When working on a creative project, instead of writing ideas immediately, sit in silence for a few minutes and let ideas come naturally. You may find that the best ideas appear when you are not actively searching for them. 6. Meditate for creativity. Meditation is not just for relaxation, it is also a tool for creativity. Spend a few minutes in silence each day, focusing on your breath or a simple thought. This practice helps clear away distractions and allows fresh ideas to surface. 7. Create a quiet space for creativity. If possible, set up a space where you can work in silence. This could be a quiet room, a peaceful corner in your home, or even a secluded spot outdoors. Protect this space from distractions and use it whenever you need to think creatively. The silent mind is a creative mind. Silence is not empty. It is full of potential. It is the space where ideas are born, where inspiration grows, and where creativity thrives. In a world that is constantly noisy, finding moments of stillness can feel difficult. But when we make time for silence, we discover that our best ideas are waiting to be heard. Great thinkers, artists, and innovators throughout history have used silence to unlock their creativity. They understood that true inspiration does not come from endless activity, but from quiet reflection. You can do the same. The next time you are searching for a creative idea, do not force it. Instead, step into silence. Take a quiet walk, sit in stillness, or simply let your mind wander. You may be surprised by what emerges from the quiet. Chapter 8. Mastering the Silence Within. Silence is often seen as something to be avoided. Many people feel uneasy when there is no noise, no conversation, and no distractions. In today's world, where everything moves fast and information is constantly flowing, silence can feel strange, even uncomfortable. But silence is not the enemy. It is, in fact, a powerful tool for inner peace, clarity, and self-growth. Mastering the silence within means learning to embrace stillness rather than running from it. It means overcoming the fear of solitude, finding techniques to stay calm in a busy world, and building a habit of daily quiet reflection. This chapter will help you understand why silence is so valuable and how you can use it to transform your life. Overcoming fear of solitude and silence. Many people associate silence with loneliness, but silence and loneliness are not the same. Loneliness is the feeling of being disconnected from others, while silence is a choice to step away from noise and distractions. Solitude is not about being isolated. It is about spending time with yourself in a meaningful way. One reason people fear silence is that it forces them to face their own thoughts. When there is constant noise, music, TV, social media, it is easy to avoid deep reflection. But in silence, our minds bring up thoughts we may have been ignoring. This can be uncomfortable at first, but it is necessary for personal growth. When we sit in silence, we get to know ourselves better. We become aware of our emotions, our dreams, and even our fears. Another reason people resist silence is because they believe they must always be busy. Society often rewards constant activity. If we are not talking, working, or doing something, we may feel unproductive. But silence is not wasted time. It is a time for the mind to reset, for creativity to grow, and for the body to relax. To overcome the fear of silence, start small. Try sitting in silence for just a few minutes each day. Notice what thoughts come up. Instead of running from them, observe them. With time, you will see that silence is not something to fear, but something to embrace. Techniques for inner stillness in daily life. Incorporating silence into daily life does not mean removing all sound or isolating yourself. It means creating small moments of stillness where your mind can slow down and find peace. Here are some simple techniques to bring more silence into your day. 1. Morning silence. Begin your day with a few moments of quiet before checking your phone or talking to anyone. This helps set a calm tone for the day. You can sit quietly, take deep breaths, or just enjoy a few minutes of stillness before the world starts demanding your attention. 2. Silent breaks. Throughout the day, take short breaks where you step away from noise. Turn off your phone, close your eyes, and just breathe. Even a few minutes of silence can help clear your mind and reduce stress. 3. The power of deep breathing. Focusing on your breath is one of the easiest ways to bring inner stillness. Take slow, deep breaths and pay attention to how the air moves in and out of your body. This simple practice helps calm the nervous system and quiet the mind. 4. Mindful walking. Walking in silence is a great way to practice stillness. Instead of listening to music or making phone calls, walk quietly and observe your surroundings. Notice the sounds of nature, the movement of your body, and the rhythm of your breath. 5. Silent meals. Try eating a meal in silence. Focus on the taste, texture, and smell of the food. This not only helps you appreciate your meal more, but also brings a sense of mindfulness to your daily routine. 6. Reducing background noise. We often fill our environment with background noise, TV, music, podcasts. While these can be enjoyable, Try turning them off for a while each day. Allow yourself to experience true silence and see how it changes your mood and energy. Hash 7. Meditation and reflection. One of the most powerful ways to develop inner stillness is through meditation. Sitting quietly and focusing on your breath or a single thought can bring a deep sense of peace. If meditation feels difficult, simply sitting and reflecting on your day can be just as valuable. Building a habit of daily quiet reflection. Like any habit, creating a routine of silence and reflection takes time. The key is to start small and be consistent. Here are some steps to help you build a habit of daily quiet reflection. 1. Set a time for silence. Choose a specific time each day to be silent. This could be in the morning, before bed, or during a break in the day. Having a set time makes it easier to develop the habit. Create a quiet space. Find a place where you can be free from distractions. It could be a peaceful corner in your home, a park, or even your car. The important thing is to make it a space where you feel comfortable and relaxed. 3. Start with just a few minutes. If you are not used to silence, start with just 2 or 3 minutes a day. Over time, increase the duration. Even a short moment of quiet can make a big difference. 4. Reflect on your thoughts. Use your silent time to check in with yourself. Ask yourself, how am I feeling? What do I need right now? What am I grateful for? Writing down your thoughts in a journal can also be helpful. 5. Let go of expectations. There is no right way to practice silence. Some days your mind may feel busy. Other days you may feel deep peace. Accept whatever comes without judgment. 6. Use silence to solve problems. When faced with a difficult decision, instead of rushing to find an answer, sit in silence. Let your mind process the situation without pressure. Often, the best solutions come when we are not forcing them. 7. Embrace silence in conversations. Pausing before responding in conversations allows you to listen more deeply and respond more thoughtfully. Silence can also create stronger connections by showing that you are present and engaged. The power of mastering inner silence. When we learn to master the silence within, we gain a powerful sense of control over our minds and emotions. We become less reactive, more thoughtful, and more in tune with ourselves. Inner stillness brings clarity, creativity, and a sense of balance that cannot be found in noise and distraction. Many of life's greatest lessons and insights come in moments of quiet. It is in silence that we hear our true thoughts, find our deepest inspirations, and connect with our inner strength. If you find yourself avoiding silence, ask yourself why. Are you afraid of facing certain thoughts? Are you uncomfortable being alone? The more you sit with silence, the more you will realize that it is not empty. It is full of wisdom, healing, and possibility. The world will always be noisy. There will always be distractions pulling you in different directions. But within you, there is a place of stillness that you can return to at any time. When you learn to master that silence, you will discover a new sense of peace and strength that will guide you in every part of life. Start today. Find a quiet moment. Breathe, listen, be present. In the silence, you may find exactly what you've been searching for. Chapter 9. Silence as a spiritual practice. Silence is not just the absence of noise. It is a gateway to something greater than ourselves. Throughout history, people from all cultures and religions have turned to silence to seek wisdom, peace, and connection with a higher purpose. Silence has been a central part of meditation, prayer, and spiritual awakening. It allows us to step away from the distractions of the world and listen to something deeper. In today's fast-moving world, where noise surrounds us everywhere, it is easy to forget the power of stillness. Many people feel uncomfortable with silence because it forces them to slow down and look inward. But in that quiet space, there is something beautiful waiting to be discovered. A sense of peace, clarity, and connection that cannot be found in noise. This chapter explores how silence plays a role in meditation and prayer, how different traditions use silence to reach enlightenment, and how you can use stillness to connect with a higher purpose in your own life. The role of silence in meditation and prayer. Meditation and prayer are among the most powerful ways that people use silence in their spiritual journeys. Both practices involve quieting the mind and turning inward to connect with something greater, whether it is God, the universe, or one's inner self. In meditation, silence is used to calm the mind and create awareness. By sitting quietly and focusing on the breath, a person can enter a deep state of peace. Thoughts may still come and go, but in silence, the mind learns to observe them without attachment. Many great thinkers and spiritual leaders have practiced meditation to develop inner wisdom. The Buddha, for example, spent long periods in silent meditation before reaching enlightenment. His teachings emphasize the power of silence in understanding the nature of life. Prayer, on the other hand, is often seen as speaking to a higher power, but silence also plays a key role in deepening that connection. Many spiritual teachers say that while prayer is when we speak, silence is when we listen. When we take time to sit in stillness after praying, we open ourselves to guidance, insight, and peace. Some of the most profound spiritual experiences happen not in words, but in the quiet moments of deep reflection. How different traditions embrace silence for enlightenment. Silence has been an essential part of many religious and spiritual traditions around the world. While the methods may differ, the goal is the same: to reach a deeper understanding of life and our place in the universe. Christianity and silence. In Christianity, silence has been practiced for centuries as a way to grow closer to God. Monks and nuns in monasteries take vows of silence to remove worldly distractions and focus entirely on prayer and contemplation. The Bible often speaks about the power of stillness. One famous verse says, "Be still and know that I am God." This shows that in silence, people can feel the presence of the divine more clearly. Many Christians also practice silent retreats where they spend days or even weeks in complete quiet, reflecting on their faith and seeking spiritual renewal. Buddhism and silence. In Buddhism, silence is a path to enlightenment. Meditation is a central practice, helping people find inner peace by focusing on their breath and letting go of distractions. Buddhist monks often take vows of silence for long periods to deepen their awareness and mindfulness. The idea is that when the mind is quiet, wisdom naturally arises. The famous Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh often spoke about the beauty of silence, calling it the way to hear the deepest callings of the heart. In many Buddhist teachings, silence is seen as a form of deep listening, not just to others, but to one's own inner truth. Hinduism and the power of mauna, sacred silence. In Hinduism, silence is known as mauna, and it is considered a sacred practice. Many Hindu sages and yogis take vows of silence to purify their minds and connect with the divine. Silence is used in meditation, helping practitioners go beyond thoughts and enter a state of pure awareness. One of the most well-known figures in Hindu philosophy, Ramana Maharshi, believed that silence was the highest form of teaching. He often remained silent, and his followers would sit with him in quiet meditation, believing that his presence alone could bring deep spiritual insight. Islam and the quiet reflection of dhikr. In Islam, silence is an important part of dhikr, which means the remembrance of God. While some forms of dhikr involve repeating prayers out loud, there is also a silent practice where a person focuses inward, reflecting on God's presence in stillness. The Prophet Muhammad himself often withdrew to quiet places for deep reflection and prayer. Sufi mystics, known for their spiritual depth, also practice silent meditation to seek closeness to God. They believe that in the quiet of the heart, one can hear divine guidance more clearly. Indigenous traditions and the wisdom of silence. Many indigenous cultures around the world also honor silence as a way to connect with the natural world and the wisdom of ancestors. Native American traditions, for example, teach that silence is a sign of deep respect and wisdom. Elders often speak little, believing that true understanding comes from listening more than talking. Silent vision quests are also common, where individuals spend time alone in nature, seeking guidance through quiet reflection. Connecting with a higher purpose through stillness. No matter what spiritual path a person follows, silence can be a bridge to something greater. When we take time to be still, we open ourselves to insights that might otherwise go unnoticed in the rush of daily life. Many people find that moments of silence help them feel a deeper sense of purpose. When the world is noisy, it is easy to feel lost or disconnected. But when we pause and sit in stillness, we remember what truly matters. We begin to understand our purpose more clearly, and we feel a greater connection to something beyond ourselves. If you want to use silence as a spiritual practice in your own life, here are a few ways to begin. 1. Create a daily quiet time. Set aside a few minutes each day to sit in silence. You can use this time for meditation, prayer, or simply quiet reflection. The more you do it, the more natural it will feel. Listen instead of speak. Try to spend more time listening, both to others and to yourself. When talking to people, pause before responding. In moments of confusion, instead of seeking immediate answers, sit in silence and allow clarity to come naturally. 3. Spend time in nature. Nature is one of the best places to experience the power of silence. Go for a quiet walk, sit by a river, or watch the sunrise. Being in nature helps to quiet the mind and deepen spiritual awareness. 4. Try a silent retreat. If possible, consider attending a silent retreat where you can spend a day or more in total silence. These retreats can be life-changing, allowing you to disconnect from distractions and focus fully on your inner world. 5. Practice gratitude in silence. Instead of rushing through your day, take moments to pause in silence and appreciate what you have. Gratitude grows when we slow down and notice the beauty around us, embracing silence as a sacred gift. Silence is not empty, it is full of meaning. It is in silence that we hear the deepest truths, feel the greatest peace, and connect with something beyond ourselves. Throughout history, spiritual seekers have turned to silence to find enlightenment, wisdom, and divine presence. You do not have to be a monk or a mystic to experience the power of silence. All you need to do is make time for stillness in your life. When you do, you will discover that silence is not just the absence of sound, it is the presence of something greater. It is an invitation to listen, to reflect, and to connect with the deepest parts of yourself and the universe. Chapter 10. Living with the Strength of Silence. In a world that values noise, movement, and constant communication, silence is often overlooked. We rush from one task to another, filling every moment with distractions, conversations, and endless streams of information. But what if we made space for silence in our lives? What if, instead of fearing quiet moments, we embraced them? This book has explored the hidden strength of silence, how it helps with self-discovery, deepens relationships, improves decision-making, and fosters creativity and spiritual growth. But knowledge alone is not enough. To truly experience the power of silence, we must learn to live with it, to make it part of our daily existence. This final chapter will show you how to integrate silence into your busy life, the lifelong benefits of doing so, and a final call to action to encourage you to begin your journey toward a quieter, more meaningful life. Integrating silence into a busy life. One of the biggest challenges people face when trying to embrace silence is the feeling that they are too busy. Between work, family, responsibilities, and social interactions, it seems impossible to find moments of stillness. But silence does not require hours of meditation or complete isolation. It is something that can be woven into your daily life in simple yet powerful ways. 1. Start your day in silence. Many people wake up and immediately check their phones, turn on the TV, or jump into conversations. But the morning is a perfect time to enjoy a few minutes of quiet. Before you reach for your phone or begin your daily routine, take a moment to sit in silence. Breathe deeply, set an intention for the day, and allow yourself to wake up peacefully. 2. Pause before speaking. Silence is not just about being alone. It is also about how we communicate. Instead of rushing to fill conversations with words, practice pausing before you speak. Listen deeply, process what is being said, and respond thoughtfully. This simple habit can improve your relationships and make your words more meaningful. 3. Create silent moments in your day. Even in the busiest schedule, there are small pockets of time where silence can be found. A few moments of stillness before a meeting, sitting quietly while drinking coffee, or even turning off the radio while driving. These are all opportunities to embrace silence. The key is to be intentional about finding these moments and using them for reflection. 4. Unplug from noise and distractions. Technology is one of the biggest sources of noise in modern life. Phones, social media, and endless notifications keep our minds occupied at all times. Try setting aside a specific time each day to disconnect from screens and enjoy quiet. You may be surprised at how much calmer and more focused you feel. 5. Spend time in nature. Nature is one of the best places to experience silence. A walk in the park, sitting by a lake, or simply watching the sunset can bring a sense of peace that is hard to find elsewhere. Nature reminds us that silence is not empty, it is full of life, beauty, and meaning. 6. End your day with quiet reflection. Before going to bed, take a few minutes to reflect in silence. Think about what went well during the day, what you learned, and what you are grateful for. Ending the day in stillness can improve sleep, reduce stress, and help you wake up feeling more refreshed. The lifelong benefits of embracing quiet moments. Embracing silence is not just a temporary practice. It is a lifelong habit that can bring many benefits. Here are some of the ways silence can transform your life. 1. Improve mental clarity and focus. When we are constantly surrounded by noise and distractions, our minds become overwhelmed. Silence gives the brain a chance to rest, process information, and think more clearly. Over time, this can lead to better decision-making, greater focus, and enhanced creativity. 2. Emotional resilience. Life is full of challenges, and silence helps us build the strength to face them. When we practice stillness, we learn to manage our emotions, reduce stress, and stay calm even in difficult situations. Silence teaches us patience, self-control, and inner peace. 3. Deeper relationships. By learning to listen more and speak less, we strengthen our relationships. Silence allows us to truly hear and understand others, leading to greater trust, empathy, and meaningful connections. It also helps us avoid unnecessary conflicts caused by impulsive words. 4. Greater self-discovery. Silence creates space for introspection and self-awareness. It allows us to explore our thoughts, dreams, and purpose without the influence of external noise. Many of life's most important realizations come during quiet moments of reflection. 5. Spiritual growth. No matter what your spiritual beliefs are, silence plays a key role in connecting with something greater than yourself. Whether through meditation, prayer, or simple stillness, silence deepens your sense of purpose and inner peace. Final thoughts. A call to action. As you reach the end of this book, take a moment to reflect on what you have learned. The hidden strength of silence is not just a concept, it is a way of life. It is a gift that is always available, waiting to be embraced. The world will continue to be noisy, and distractions will always be present. But you have the power to choose silence. You have the ability to step back, to listen, to reflect, and to grow. By making space for silence in your daily life, you will discover a strength that cannot be found in words or noise. Now, take action. Start small. Find one moment today where you can be silent and fully present. Be mindful. Notice how silence makes you feel and what insights it brings. Stay committed. Make silence a regular part of your life, not just an occasional escape. Share the wisdom. Encourage others to embrace silence and experience its benefits. Silence is not weakness, it is power. It is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is not loneliness, it is connection. As you move forward, may you carry the strength of silence with you and allow it to shape your life in ways you never imagined. Your journey with silence is just beginning. Step into it with confidence and let its quiet power guide you to a life of deeper meaning, peace, and strength. Thank you so much for watching this video on Fearless Audio. We truly appreciate your time and support. If you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Your subscription helps us create more awesome audiobook content for you. Stay fearless, and we look forward to bringing you more inspiring videos.